All right, let's get started. We've got a full agenda today, so welcome everyone. As you can see, we switched to WebEx. Hopefully that'll be a bit more user-friendly for everyone. Controls should be virtually the same as Zoom. You're going to see a little raise hand function at the bottom of the screen if you would like to speak.
Of those new
I'm just gonna
plates,
move
like
it.
the new plates, ballistic plates. Yeah.
All right. So I'll just go over our agenda for today. We've got the Legends program and Banquet that we're introducing on December 1st. A little update on the firearm marking and amnesty period, as well as the confiscation program. An update on our work with Senate in Bill C-21. And then we're going to open the floor to discussion and questions from membership. So I will let Wes take it away. Oh, I'll have to ask you to unmute, Wes. Sorry, I muted everyone.
There we go. Good afternoon, all. Thank you very much for taking your time today to listen to us babble on. We have a very busy time here at the CSAAA. I'll try to give a bit of an overview, and then we'll open the floor up for questions at the end. First and foremost, we have a real positive initiative that the board's taken under its wing, which is to bring together the Legends program. The Legends program is designed to honor our peers that have, contributed so much to our industry over the years. Our board and our Legends committee designed a criteria and a point system for the amount of years and service. It definitely we have it posted online if anyone wants to view it and see what it entails, but it leads to reward people for longevity in the industry, leadership in the industry, and of course volunteering in the industry. We all know that those three things are a lot of what makes the world go round, and we want to honor those people. This has also become one of our main fundraising initiatives with the banquets surrounding these. We've heard loud and clear that the desire for trade shows and traveling to trade shows is going down with every passing year. We're getting a lot of fatigue from the exhibitors that have to travel around, and because so much stuff is done virtually nowadays, is that we're finding that there's less desire to travel far to trade shows. So we're trying to go a little more regional with the banquet idea, and we're hoping that our partners in the industry will support these initiatives and not only attend but maybe contribute to our silent auctions and different events surrounding it. This year, the first banquet will be in Mississauga, and we are honoring three long-term members of our industry. One, Mr. Steve Cuppy, long-term leader of Greywood Sporting Group. Steve has done a lot of great volunteer work, and we're very proud to honor him. Catherine Trowbridge, who's of course no stranger to the CSAAA as well. She was on our board for a long time and was the CEO of Excalibur Crossbow for a long period of time. She, a long-term contributor to the industry, both with hours and financially. So we're proud to honor her. And then the recently deceased John Mock from Stoker, Canada. Again, a lot of years of service in volunteering and leadership at Stoker, Canada. So we're very proud to honor those. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Jen. She'll give the details of the event.
Yeah, absolutely. So the event is on a Friday, December 1st. It's just minutes up the road from another industry event that's happening that same day. Of course, it's an evening banquet, so it's going to start at 6 o'clock at the Belmont event space. All of the information is on our website. Tickets and tables do seem to be going quick, and there are limited spots. So you can get on there and order your tickets online, or if you're having trouble processing it through the website, just give me a call and I can help you with that. We can do discounts on tables of 8. If you can just give me a text or an email, I can set that up for you. We'll have to manually apply those discounts to the tables, so you can't just order it through the website. And we'll be reaching out for sponsorships and donations, such as firearm and non-firearm related items that we can offer on our silent auction.
Yes, the response to this initiative has been very positive so far, and we'd like to thank everyone for their support. And if anyone has any suggestions or ideas, please pass them on to Jen. Next up, we have the government stuffs. First and foremost, we have the firearms marking and amnesty updates. So we have two major deadlines that are approaching here this fall. The first one comes on the end of October, and it is the amnesty update. This is for the guns that were covered under the May 1st order in council by Minister Blair. Mostly known as the black rifle, or as the government likes to call it, the assault style firearm ban, whatever that is. Anyways, this amnesty ends October the 30th. So what that means is if there is not an extension, that the possession of those firearms would no longer be covered under an amnesty. So you're not allowed to be in possession of those prohibited firearms. For all of us that have these firearms registered to our business, this is a great deal of concern. Obviously, if you're in possession of items you're not supposed to have without a prescribed purpose, there is the danger of not being able to conduct your day-to-day business activities. We have been pushing hard to the government to announce an extension to this. There's no way that the businesses are going to be able to dispose of these firearms either through export or through the gun confiscation or buyback program before that date. So we have to make sure that that amnesty is extended, and we've been pushing very hard for that in our meetings with public safety. I do believe we'll see an amnesty extension announced before the end of the month. But again, at this time, there is no assurance of that. We have no assurance in writing or verbally that that will happen. We do believe it will happen, but we have no assurance of that. The second big deadline is December the 1st. And for those that have been following, way back in before the turn of the century, even back in the 90s, a Liberal government at the time signed on to the UN Marking Initiative for firearms. And that required firearms to be marked after being imported with a individual unique identifier with having the year and date of import, as well as the importer's address and the importer's name on the firearm. The initial markings designation program was supposed to come into effect back in the 90s, but because of the extensive damage that it would do to the industry, it was deferred at that point in time by that government. And then we've seen it deferred every 2 years basically since that, including all the way through the Chrétien administration, all the way through the Harper administration, and then of course the Trudeau administration announced a markings amnesty when they were brought into power as well. That amnesty ends on December the 1st. So just to kind of give an overview of this, is that this is not a new legal initiative. This is not something that's being proposed by government. It's something that has passed a long time ago. So again, it is the law of the land, similar to what we're talking about with the other amnesty. And the only reason we can still import firearms without marking them after they're imported is an amnesty that's been announced. If that amnesty is not extended, or if there's not parameters brought in to bring this into force, then the law as written would come in. That is why we've been pushing so hard, and for months and months it fell upon deaf ears. But finally we got contact with public safety on this topic a few weeks ago, and we've been pushing them ever since to again announce another amnesty, and then to sit down at the table and talk about it. But just so everyone's aware, is that if for whatever reason the government does not extend the amnesty, it will cause a great deal of difficulty for everyone that imports firearms, as well as a great deal of cost. To mark these firearms after they come into the country is a lot. It takes a lot of equipment. It takes a lot of time. It takes packing, ungreasing, packing back up again. It is a very arduous process, and we have a great deal of concern the way it's written now. And we've asked for many changes over the years. We almost had the Harper government in a position to announce the regulation as written, and then unfortunately they were voted out, and here we are today in this same pickle again. The big concern here, and the reason we're bringing this forward, is that we have no confirmation that there will be an amnesty extension. And in Bill C-21 before Parliament, the government has made a commitment to proceed with firearms marking regulations. So that has not passed yet. But again, because these regulations are already in the books, we have a concern that this administration wants to further cripple the industry by bringing these into force. So please stay tuned for this. If you are an importer on the line and you have any questions, please reach out to Jen. She can give you some details. It is something that we strongly recommend importers and all dealers write their members of parliament about. You know, it will very much handicap business. if we need to implement these regulations in December. Other further note is maybe that if you have consumers and or dealers that are looking to get some product in the store before that date, it might not be a bad idea just in case they don't announce a amnesty extension, because I would suspect to see an increase in price afterwards. Jen, did I miss anything there?
No, that's perfect.
Okay. Next up on our agenda today, we have the confiscation program update. We at the industry don't like to call it a buyback. The government likes to use that term. Of course, they never own them to start with, so why it would be called a buyback, we have no idea. But the confiscation program, of course, you know, there was lots of controversy earlier in the year with the CSAAA signing on to negotiate with the federal government on the parameters around the confiscation program. It was decided by the board at the time in an unanimous vote to proceed with discussing this with the federal government, because we just thought that the alternative was worse. We always ask, you know, to be consulted as a group, and this was one time that we had a chance to be consulted on the parameters around this, and we did agree to sign up on that. Ever since that first conversation, we've had monthly meetings with the people in charge of the confiscation program and the bureaucratic team around it. I can tell you from being on most of those calls is that they have a very large team on this. It's something the government is very committed to. They have over 30 people on every conference call with us. I can assure you that with or without the CSAAA, this confiscation program was going forward. I can tell you that I do believe that without us interjecting and advocating on behalf of the industry, I believe that IBM would already have this program in place and would have forced their initial one price fixes all pricing program. Since then, we've been able to not only convince them that that one initial price list that was put out with the five baseline prices, we've also been able to convince them that the accessories and all the components of these firearms also need to be compensated for, because if people can't use mini 14s and mini 30s, there's not much sense having spare mags and or parts to support those guns in our inventory. So we've been able to get them on board with a lot more, a lot broader program and a lot more compensation for our members. Again, this is completely voluntary. If any member does not want to participate, we have no plans to try to force anyone to it. We just want to help with those and liaison the agreement between the government and the members that want to participate. That is the you know, where we stand with it. They have now released some money to us. So again, this is not costing our membership anything, just to put that in perspective here. All of the time that was put in before this program was announced was put in voluntarily by the board. And then now that we're getting to the point where there's more labor required, the federal government has injected the funds to cover it. So they're covering not only the employee time, but the expenses of any office expenses or any other time that's taken. There's no money going to any of the volunteer board members. So that's just one thing that there's been some misinformation out there about, is that no board members have received a single dime from the association, just to make sure we keep that clear. And now we're going to go forward to get some staff in place to kind of help administer this program. And again, the one nice thing about it as well is that it will strengthen our association by having some more hands on deck to help with other initiatives now that they're being covered by federal subsidy. So it's kind of a nice part of the side effect of this program. Jen, did I miss anything there?
No, that's good.
Okay. Lastly, before we open the floor, we have our fifth thing, which is the Bill C-21 update. So for those that have been following it, Bill C-21, with the hunting gun amendment pulled out of it, did process through the House of Commons before the end of the summer session, and now is before the Senate. For those that are not quite familiar with the way the government operates, the Senate is the last step before a bill becomes law. We're looking right now at possibly getting that through the Senate and through the committees of the Senate probably by the end of the year. So we were looking at C-21 probably becoming law sometime next year. The Senate is highly unlikely to defeat a bill. It's happened a couple times in the history of our country. I don't believe it's going to happen here. We have assurances it won't happen here. All we can do inside the Senate basically is try to get some very small points amended, and before it gets sent back to the House. We have had conversations with Liberal senators. Obviously, those are the ones that are going to be the ones that have to vote for amendments. We have got the ear of a couple of them that have been listening to us, and we're going to try to get as many things softened in the bill as possible. But I do believe this bill will be law next year, unfortunately. It doesn't look like there's going to be an election call this fall, and that would be the only thing that would really save it is to have an election call and government to be disbanded. So we will do our best to discuss it with the senators and to try to get as many changes as possible. Some of the things we've been advocating for is, of course, is to get some kind of avenue of the handgun industry open back up again, and to get that order in council that prohibits the sale of handguns off, whether that be through a grandfathered thing to current license owners. Obviously, we just want it to be gone completely, but everyone on this call knows that that's not really an option inside this federal government. So we're trying to advocate for some small wins inside that bill, but that has been the strategy on the Bill C-21 front.
Yeah, and we are aware that air rifles are still impacted by this as well, and that's definitely something that we're bringing up with Senate. So was that all, Wes? Sorry, was there anything to add?
Yeah, no, that was the end of the Bill C-21. At this point in time, awesome. We can open the floor up for questions.
Yeah, so you can just use the raise hand function at the bottom of your screen, and we'll invite you to speak. All right. I'll give a few more minutes just if anyone's trying to use that raise hand function or trying. Oh, there we go. Awesome.
Here's a quick question, just for you folks, is from our side on the manufacturing side. We're interpreting that as then we would now have to have savage.ca as a minimum on the receiver.
On the receiver, along with the year of import, if it passes as it stands now, yes.
Now, the year of import being that, we don't import. So, how would that work?
I thought you were still importing from West Canada. Is that not correct? Do you not still bring firearms into your warehouse?
If we bring center fire and any rim fire in the U.S., but I was thinking more from the manufacturing point of view, Wes, of what we're exporting out, right?
There is, at this point in time, there is no export marking requirements on this.
Right.
You just meet the country of import requirements.
Right. So then anything from the U.S. that we would bring in from Savage Westfield.
That's your problem area right there.
That's where we would be. And as you know, we've been ready for years, but we've been ready for years for it coming. But I was thinking more from the point of view, because I knew there was stipulation on manufacturers also.
Sorry, that my audio cut out there for a sec. Terry, can you repeat that?
I know there's requirements for manufacturers also, like being that today we don't have to put that on the receiver today, but potentially after December 1st, we would have to have Savage Arms. From what I understand, it's the country code or Canada. So savagearms.ca.
That was upon import, yeah.
We already would have the name on the barrel, but what about the address? Do we need the address on the receiver too?
We need the address on the receiver for the import. Like I said, if we can't get any amendments to it, trust me, we're fighting for them. But if we can't get them right now, the way it sits, Savage Canada and your address and the year of import would have to be engraved on that firearm.
Okay. And the manufactured in Canada firearm, for example, how would that work? Same?
Yeah, there is no requirement for any further markings on a domestically manufactured firearm.
This is strictly for UN imports.
The receiver call. Because that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I understood we have to put the name and address on the receiver, right?
There is plans for those marking regulations to come in with C21, but there's nothing that states it in the regulation as written currently.
Okay, because it's on the barrel we want. So okay, just trying to get a handle around that for us. We're all teed up, I believe, Dave. I think I know we're all teed up, but just it's very, very clear. Nobody comes out and tells you exactly what's
No.
why would they be out of character? So okay, thanks, Wes.
We're teed up, but Wes, we don't want that labor to be used on that. That's just a waste.
Absolutely.
We brought that. We have the letters from Savage that we've brought again back to the Public Safety Office to explain the cost that you guys were kind enough to put forward to us in writing years ago. And we've of course we've told them that is structured to inflation, but none of us want this. I mean, there's no benefit to anyone here. At the extra expense already with the price of firearms being as high as they are, I can assume we'll see a great deal of consumer pushback. Plus, it adds another ungodly marking to your firearm.
Agreed.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank you,
Wes.
Terry. Amanda.
Just wondering if you guys have any indication what will happen to any dealer that chooses not to participate in the buyback of the ARs.
It's a great question. So at this point in time, there has been no thing set in stone yet in any of the meetings about people that don't participate or dealers that don't want to participate. In the past, with the handgun, the short barrel handguns that were prohibited, there was some strong arming stuff that tried to happen as far as business licenses being expired or canceled, or the refusal to issue import permits. There's a lot of different administrative things. I don't think we're looking at any type of Gestapo as far as a forced compensation or confiscation goes. But, I do think that it's difficult to operate a business without a current business license. And if you're in possession of something that's not prescribed, of course, there are some dealers that are licensed for prohibited firearms that continue to have them if they have a prescribed purpose on their books. But if you don't, there's nothing to cover the possession of those firearms. There's a danger there.
Okay.
Texas.
Hello? You hear
Hey,
me
we can
okay?
hear you. Absolutely.
Okay. Since the handgun, the ban on selling handguns came in on October 21st last year, I waited till November the 10th to do a transfer on purpose, give it a week or so. And I transferred one on November the 10th. And I waited till there was kind of a backlog on the transfers up until the 1st of March. And then I called up to ask what seemed to be the holdup. And they said, soon as you renew your wilderness permit, then the transfer will go through. So renewed the wilderness permit and the transfer went through. So you can still transfer them if you have a wilderness permit. Subject, of course, to, the calibers or whatever for your wilderness permit requirements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a few different occupations that you can have that would still allow you to purchase a handgun and get a wilderness carry permit, and that is one of them. It is a very restrictive program, though, as you know, Texas.
Oh, certainly it's restrictive, but so long as you follow what's on your permit, then it's good, and you can still buy guns from an estate or whatever, or rather than just throwing them out type thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, we have had instances where there's been transfers approved for wilderness carry for protection of life, and then there still are some people that have been approved as Olympic target shooters. So there is still a few small exemptions for sure.
All right. It looks like that's all of the questions or comments that we've had. Feel free to raise your hand while I'm talking if we've missed you. So thank you again, everybody, for taking the time to sit with us and talk with us and listen to what we have to say. Just a reminder that the Legends Banquet again is Friday, December 1st. If you have any questions, all of the information is on our website, or you can just give me a call. And to reiterate Wes's message about reaching out to your members of Parliament and Senate, I know it seems like it falls on deaf ears, but whenever we're talking with them, they're definitely receiving your message loud and clear. We have resources on our website to help you figure out who to send messages to, such as the members of Senate studying Bill C-21 and your members of Parliament. So feel free to check those out to help you send any letters against Bill C-21 or the firearm marking. And if you need help with terminology or wording, just please let me know. And thank you again.
In those letters, please do mention that you have what your financial contribution is to your local economy, as far as how many employees you have, and that always helps to put in there. That you know, that definitely gets more eyebrows raised when you start talking about losing jobs. So please include that information.
Very, very good point. Absolutely. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great evening, and give me an email or a call if you have any questions.
Thank you all. Happy selling.
Thank you.
That was great, folks. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Thanks very much.